Hi, and welcome back to my Dallas Cowboys blog. It's January 16th, 2014, and it's on the eve of the Senior Bowl. I hope Kiffen stays. If the Cowboys are fronting for a guy that's ill, that's wrong. I don't think Monte Kiffen is ill. Illness shouldn't be shamed in this day and age, so that said, I don't buy that he's too old, and I don't think his ability vanished on a poof. It vanished with a poof of talent. If Dallas transitions to a new scheme or even shows a crisis of faith in the new scheme that we already have, I don't think Dallas's D will recover in 2014. It'd be nice to have Spencer back, really. He's Dallas's best shot at moving George Selvie to backup. Tyrone Crawford is also a player expected to compete at the second defensive end spot, but it seems dreadful to go into 2014 without another better attempt at a multi-dimensional player at defensive end. Is our next right defensive end already on the roster? Given our defense was an all-time worst in Dallas's history, I hope that we have another powerful defensive end added to the roster. I just don't think it can happen at pick 16. It's not a lot of love there at defensive ends because the defensive ends tend to go the top 10. And that's it. They rise. So the very way too early prognosis has Dallas can't get a really formidable 3-tech or a stud defensive end, but Dallas should get a stud 1-tech. A great 1-tech in the middle of the first round seems possible. This guy lines up between the guard and the center. He'd be replacing Nick Hayden. His biggest contribution to our defense would be keeping the linebackers clean. He has to really occupy both the center and the guard to keep the guard or center from running up into the second level. A better 1-tech offers better protection for the middle linebacker and would help the whole defense altogether. Of course, we in Dallas have no idea who'll be playing defensive tackle next year, but a good 3-tech is hard to find, so maybe a 1-tech instead. Either way, this plays into my hopes for more trade downs. I think that a good 350-pound monstrous-sized defensive lineman can be had in the later part of the first round, and they would be better suited for 1-tech than 3-tech. 3-tech is about speed. You need an unusual combination of size and speed to play 3-tech, while 1-tech has more emphasis on size, and it's a little easier to come by. You don't necessarily need the fast dudes. I'm eager for the pre-draft free agent market to open up after the Super Bowl. Dallas has a lot of moving parts and older players who may leave, including Spencer, Hatcher, and Miles Austin. I think Miles is done in Dallas. No touchdowns all year, and he's been declining for 3 years. I can't imagine Dallas brass is optimistic about him rebounding. Dallas doesn't need wide receivers all over the field. Dallas doesn't even need to replace Miles with the draft pick. Tony Romo, I think, was number 4 in the NFL in throwing touchdowns last year. So it doesn't seem like we really need to go get another wide receiver. It really clearly needs a collection of talent on defense. I believe that the defense being in the second year, the players' bodies are being acclimated to the scheme and their new weights, so that injuries will be down in the second year. If they are not down, then we are helpless again, most likely. I also hold that Bruce Carter will be good again next year. So that said, I'd have to say linebacker does not need a draft pick, nor does cornerback high, but safety and defensive line need plenty of draft picks. When you count the way Dallas has lost defensive linemen recently, it's no shock Dallas needs to restock. Josh Pritt, Jeremiah J. Ratliff, Ben Bass, Tyrone Crawford, Anthony Spencer. There's so many missing holes at the end of the season that if Dallas can't count on one of our injured players rebounding in 2014, we're probably totally screwed. We need Tyrone Crawford to be a guy, not just a guy who can claw his way to 8. Not just a guy, but a guy who can claw his way to 8 or 10 sacks. We need Ben Bass to be a good defensive tackle. He doesn't need to be a Pro Bowl appearance in his first year, but he needs to contribute significantly. I'm still waiting on some smoke signal to sign that Dallas is up to something in regards to strength and training coaches, but none seem to be coming. Senior Bowl is more about filling coaching positions on your staff than it is about interviewing people. So with no firings announced, it doesn't seem like any coaching staff will be changed. I keep dismissing the idea that Monte Kiffen should leave, but the news guys in Dallas won't leave it alone and imply that there is something going on. I don't know what it is. I assume it's player analysis. Most of these guys Dallas signed in midseason should not be expected to make it to next year's roster. I'm hoping that guys who are expected back in 2014, who have loads of time off with his strength training staff, will be up to the challenge of elevating Dallas's defense. So like Ben Bass, he's had a year off. Come back bigger, stronger. He's apparently in good shape. They were saying on the radio show that before the end of the season he was on IR, but he was out jogging. It was too bad he couldn't play for the team because they could really use him back. So back to my draft plan. Without players really targeted yet, so I haven't really seen who the best players are. Again, I'm looking at positions and history of where player positions tend to go rather than actual players on the board at this point. My draft plan, trade down ASAP. In the late first round, we can find a defensive truck, the defensive version of Travis Frederick. A rock to anchor the middle of our defense, liberate the 3-tech, and keep Sean Lee clean. Last year, Nick Hayden manned it, and I think it can be manned better. In the second round, I'm looking for a running back. I've been wanting a third running back to go with Murray and Dunbar. In the second round, we may find him. So I'm looking for a legitimate, predictable threat. So, I mean, if the guy's fast and he's big enough and he's carried the football in college, then he evaluates to be worth a second-round pick, he's probably dynamic enough to really complement our offense, especially if you could predict that he would be successful in a zone scheme. Given how different Murray is from Dunbar, it would be great to have a third running back that's also very different and give us another dimension. In that Oakland game, when we were able to change it up between Murray and Dunbar, it was just like Oakland was helpless. Now Oakland is Oakland, but I think we can do that to other teams, but Dunbar can't stay on the field. So I'm looking for a second-round pick at running back that will stay on the field to complement Murray, and they'll both offer change-ups frequently and keep the defense on its heels. I'm a big fan of these big running games. Slice and dice with the handoffs. You know, when you're just like handing the ball off and the defense is just on its heels, it's great. That will give Tony Romo a rest, which he really needs. With Dallas's new tremendous zone blocking scheme and 3 good backs who hit it 3 different ways, Dallas could finally find a reason to run as much as they pass. If you look at the playoffs, New England has Tom Brady. Why would you not throw it? New England has Tom Brady. Denver has Peyton Manning. Why would you not throw it? Except both of those teams ran it far more than they passed to get to the AFC title game. In the NFC, obviously San Francisco and Seattle have run their way to a title game. Dallas is not that far from being like them. We have to lose the illusion that Murray will become a horse like Emmett. Dallas needs a stable of runners. Philip Tanner and Joseph Randle are not enough of a threat to offer the added dimension that I'm looking for. So whoever this back is, his combination of size and speed need to threaten the defense. The next pick I'd speculate was acquired for trading down. We'll call it a third rounder like last year. I think both third round picks should be defensive linemen. Now with my 1-tech and Nick Hayden, I'm set at the run stuffer position. What I need now, I'm looking for size speed guys like Jason Hatcher. He had 10 sacks at Grambling, which is enough stats combined with his size and speed to get him drafted. Jay Ratliff is also a size speed guy, but his lack of production got him drafted in the 7th round. So I'm looking for dudes like Jason Hatcher, small colleges, but they're still unusually large and unusually fast. They maybe have a few moves, but they definitely have a body to either grow or they're already there already. If I recall, Jason Hatcher came out of Grambling at like 6'5", 280. He looked the part, but he had been playing at a small school. He had dominated at a small school. So that's what you want to see. Guys that are so athletic, they dominate in small school. They maybe would have been competitive if they had gone to Texas A&M or Ohio State. In the 4th round, looking for day 1 picks who slipped through. This is like Chris Canty. Dallas isn't going to develop a quarterback with a lame duck coach and 2 aged quarterbacks on the roster. So if Jason Garrett's around this year, he's a lame duck. Because, year 4 without the playoffs, I'm sure he's gone. I don't anticipate him spending a resource on a quarterback that he's obligated to develop. He would rather spend the resource in a way that can immediately help his roster. And the quarterback doesn't offer that immediately. As we get later in the draft, the players are harder to discern. The 6th rounders, the 7th rounders. Where do these guys come from? Sometimes I wonder. I'll tell you what Dallas fails to do, and I hope they do it better this year. Dallas fails to pull guys off their board, even when their physical tools are a red flag that they don't belong. In the late rounds, Dallas must pick players who have athletic tools. No more 4-star players. Quarterbacks who are too slow, but Dallas loves because they see their size. Like Josh Thomas, a big slow quarterback from Texas Tech. Defensive ends who are too small, so they entice you with their speedy pass rush, but then compromise your running game in the playoffs, like Eric Walden. We spent a 6th-round pick on him, and then we cut him because he was too small to play the run. We could have predicted that, but we cut him. Green Bay signed him. He ends up actually starting for them because they're out of linebackers, and he offers a tremendous pass rush because he's very fast, but he's terrible against the run, and a lot of those San Francisco runs that keep outing Green Bay in the playoffs come against the strong side where he is. Running backs who are neither big or fast, like Joseph Randle. Quarterbacks who run the ball like Stephen McGee and measure out but lack passing tools. I think he could have been a 7th-round pick or an undrafted free agent. I always thought his coaching at A&M held him back, but I never saw why he was a 4th-round pick for Dallas. Safeties and linebackers who are hurt when they are drafted. This is a knock because those oft-hurt positions, and we need these guys on the field, so that's a knock against them. That said, I appreciate Bob Sanders' career in Indianapolis. When he was on the field, they vied for Super Bowls, and when he was hurt, they were just another AFC offense. Sean Lee is the kind of guy like that in Dallas. When he's on the field, Dallas is a contending team. So we need guys like him, and he puts it together for 1 year, and hopefully that's the 1 year Dallas wins the Super Bowl. Dallas rosy eyes many of its draft picks. They ignore the bust templates in many cases. They set measurables that if a player does not meet, that they will never have success. Small, slow running backs. Fat special team returners like Skylar Green. 4th-round pick, I thought I recall. No, it's 5th-round pick from LSU. They imagine they need to mitigate against this tendency by slicing their late-round boards as much as they slash their first round. Dallas needs more ferocious templates that are rigid to keep Jerry Jones from drafting players that don't belong in the NFL. One of the most classic templates regards running backs, and with Dallas wasting a pick on Joseph Randle, I'm not optimistic that Dallas' late-round strategies will get better. I will highlight one place Dallas is pretty good at drafting late, and thank heavens because we need it. Defensive line. This is because with obscure D linemen more than any other spot, Dallas applies the template principles. I just wish they applied the template principles to the rest of their talent acquisition approaches. What held back David Arkin? He's another 4-star player. Dallas fell in love with his speed, didn't seem to consider his lack of strength. Dallas's bad draft picks are littered with flaws like this. Like one essential flaw. He's just too slow. He's just too weak. I realize counting on 6th-round picks is a mistake, but Dallas makes their problems worse. Late-round players have their knocks, but knocks should not be fundamental physical flaws. I'm not all about talent and measurables like the Raiders of old. I won't spend 1st-round picks like that, but it does really help you navigate the late rounds better. Dallas got a lot of good late-round picks last year, so I'm hoping for more of the same this year. All right, good luck.